Millionaire's daughter had never spoken, until he caught the Black Nanny and his daughter. Beginning, the sprawling glass mansion of Alexander Veron overlooked the Pacific, its steel beams twisting like futuristic vines. Here was a man who had conquered industries, nanotechnology, biotech, cybernetics. Reporters called him the man who sold the future. Yet in the cavernous halls of his home, silence weighed heavier than wealth. His daughter, Leora, had been born 12 years earlier in tragedy. Her mother, Serena, had died during childbirth, leaving Alexander to raise his only child in the shadows of grief. Leora was different from the start. Bright blue eyes that seemed too ancient for her small face. A delicate presence. But she had one condition that doctors never explained. She did not speak. Not a word. She heard. She understood. She learned. Her IQ test placed her in the genius tier bracket, yet she remained locked in silence. Some specialists suggested selective mutism. Others whispered neurological mysteries. Alexander spent millions flying the finest neuroscientists from Zurich, Seoul, Boston, but every effort failed. By 12, Leora communicated only through gestures, drawings, and occasionally by typing into holographic screens. Alexander loved her fiercely, but frustration chewed at his soul. His empire of silicon and steel bent his command, yet his daughter's voice eluded him. That was when Amara Delane entered their lives. Amara wasn't from the world of billionaires and biotech. She was a 30-year-old woman from Detroit, once a teacher, now a caregiver. Her resume hadn't dazzled Alexander. But something in her tone during the interview, a calm steadiness, a warmth absent from sterile experts, made him hire her. She was different. She didn't crowd Leora with questions or therapy routines. Instead, she read to her, walked with her, showed her constellations at night. A black woman in a house where everyone else wore expensive suits, Amara stood out, but she didn't care. She hummed lullabies when the house grew too silent, filled the kitchen with the smell of spiced teas, and talked to Leora as if she'd been talking back all along. And then came the night Alexander would never forget. Middle. It was almost midnight when Alexander, restless from work, padded down the staircase to his private library. His steps echoed off glass walls, until he froze. From the sitting room came faint whispers. Not Amara's voice, but another, light, trembling, familiar in a way that pierced his soul. A child's voice. He edged closer. There was Leora, sitting on the couch beside Amara. The girl's lips were moving. Words, real, audible words, flowed out of her for the first time in 12 years. Alexander nearly collapsed. He pressed against the wall, listening. "It's not just dreams," Leora whispered, her tone fragile but certain. "I see things. Before they happen. Mom said I would." Amara didn't flinch. She simply stroked the girl's curls. "Tell me, baby, what do you see?" "Machine cities burning. And voices, thousands of voices. I can hear languages I never learned. They're inside me." Her hand shook. "But I'm scared. Amara, if I tell Papa, he won't believe me." Alexander's mind reeled. His rational world, the world of biotech and markets, wavered at the edges. His daughter's first words weren't about toys or affection, but prophecies and languages. He stepped forward, unable to stop himself. "Leora?" The girl stiffened, eyes wide. Amara looked up, calm but watchful. Alexander's throat tightened. "You spoke." For a moment, Leora seemed paralyzed. Then tears spilled down her cheeks. "Papa, I'm sorry." He rushed to her side, pulling her into his arms. The sound of her voice, trembling against his chest, was the most beautiful agony he'd ever known. "Don't be sorry. My angel, you spoke. You spoke." But Amara's gaze lingered on Alexander with something deeper than joy, almost a warning. The following days turned into revelations. Leora's voice didn't stop. In fact, it poured out like a dam breaking. At first, she spoke only to Amara, then gradually to her father, too. But her speech was strange. Sometimes she slipped into languages she couldn't possibly know: Mandarin, Swahili, Arabic, Russian. Fluent, accent perfect. She rattled off physics equations that made even Alexander, who had funded quantum labs, feel like a child. "I don't just know them," she explained one evening at dinner. "They're already inside me, like echoes, like someone left doors open in my head." Alexander contacted specialists again, but Amara intervened. She doesn't need men with white coats poking at her. Amara said firmly, she needs someone to listen, really listen. And Leora chose Amara. She confided in her more than in her father, even though Alexander burned with jealousy. Late at night, he overheard them whispering about visions of the future. But the future wasn't patient. 3 weeks later, Leora collapsed. It happened during breakfast. One moment she was sipping orange juice. The next her eyes rolled back and her body convulsed. Alexander and Amara rushed her to Veron Labs, where Alexander's team of cybernetic doctors ran frantic scans. The diagnosis shook them all. Leora's brain wasn't malfunctioning. It was evolving. Her neural networks were firing at frequencies never recorded in humans. She was processing information at a rate closer to advanced AI than biology. The doctors couldn't explain it, but Alexander remembered her words. Mom said I would. Had Serena known? Amara pieced it together before anyone else. Her mother was part of your genetic research, wasn't she? Alexander hesitated. The truth, he had buried clawed its way out. Serena hadn't been just his wife. She had been his test subject, voluntarily but recklessly. She had agreed to experimental gene editing therapies designed to enhance neural connectivity. Alexander had abandoned the project after her death, but the mutation had lived on inside Leora. Now it was awakening. Leora recovered, but with recovery came something terrifying. She began drawing symbols. Not childlike doodles, but intricate star maps, equations, and designs for machines humanity hadn't built yet. One evening, she showed Amar and Alexander a sketch of a tall, obsidian structure. "It's calling me," she whispered. "I hear in my dreams. If I go there, I'll understand why I'm like this." Alexander recognized it instantly. His labs had uncovered similar ruins years ago beneath Antarctica, an alien monolith buried deep in ice. Classified, hidden even from governments. "How do you know this?" he demanded. Leora's voice dropped to a whisper. "Because it knows me." Alexander faced a choice. Keep her confined, studied, hidden from the world, or follow her visions into the unknown. Amara was resolute. "She's not your experiment. She's your daughter. And if she's hearing something out there, we can't cage her. We have to protect her through it." For the first time in his empire-building life, Alexander surrendered control. They boarded his private aerospace shuttle and flew south, toward Antarctica's eternal night. The journey was brutal. Storms lashed at the station, ice cracked beneath their vehicles, and the cold gnawed at their bones. But Leora seemed untouched, almost guided. She led them through the blizzard until they reached a jagged valley of black stone. There it was, the monolith, even half buried in ice. It radiated power. Symbols glowed faintly across its surface, the same ones Leora had drawn. The moment they arrived, Leora walked forward unafraid. Alexander tried to stop her, but Amara held his arm. "Trust her." The girl touched the stone. It hummed, and then it spoke, not in sound, but in a resonance that filled their skulls. Alexander fell to his knees, clutching his head. Amara gritted her teeth, standing firm. But Leora, she shone. Her eyes glowed faint blue as the monolith responded. "Chosen." A chorus of voices echoed through her lips. "Carrier of the seed. The bridge between what was and what will be." Amara's hand trembled. "What are you doing to her?" "She was born to awaken the tongue of civilizations." The voices answered. "Through her, humanity will join the chorus." Leora turned, her own voice layered with theirs. "Papa, Amara, I can hear them all. Thousands of species. Millions of years. They've been waiting for us. For me." Alexander's world shattered. His empire, his fortune, all of it meant nothing compared to this. His daughter was a key to something older than Earth. But every revelation came with a price. Ending. The monolith's energy surged. Ice cracked. Machines buried within the valley rose. Towering spires of alien design awakening after millennia. Global satellites detected the anomaly instantly. By morning, every government on Earth would converge. Alexander panicked. "We have to leave. They'll come for her." Amara stepped between him and Leora. "She isn't a weapon. She isn't your company's patent. She's a child. Your child." Leora placed her small hand in his. Her voice, soft, trembling, but resolute, cut deeper than any boardroom decree. "Papa, I don't want to be alone anymore. I don't want to hide. You and Amara, you're my voice now, too. If they come for me, we stand together." Alexander felt years of arrogance melt away. For the first time, he wasn't the CEO of the future. He was just a father, and he chose to protect his daughter, not as an asset, but as a miracle. They sealed the monolith again, burying it in ice with explosives from Alexander's shuttle. Not destroyed, just hidden. Leora insisted the world wasn't ready yet. "Someday," she promised, "when we've learned to listen, not to conquer." Back home, the mansion no longer felt silent. Leora's laughter filled its halls, her voice dancing between languages, songs, and discoveries. She still carried the weight of the stars inside her, but she wasn't alone. Amar was at her side, and her father finally understood his true legacy wasn't wealth. It was her. On quiet nights, Alexander would hear her humming with Amara, the sound carrying through corridors. Not haunting silence anymore, but a harmony that felt like the future itself. And deep beneath Antarctic ice, the monolith waited, listening for the day the world would be ready for Leora's voice to echo across the stars.